All right. Hello there. I am Becky Hammond, founder and success and growth and strengths maven over at Isogo and isogostrong.com. And I am popping on here live today over at YouTube Live. And this will be posted for you over at Facebook as well if you want to find a link to it to talk to you a little bit about how to use the new free PDF resource that we've been offering as a part of our Isogo TV podcast mini series on conflict resolution. So the free tool is called the Conflict Resolution Path and Action Plan. And it not only follows along with the podcast and the conflict resolution mini series, each episode, but it also gives you a quick way of assessing where you are in your conflict. Assuming that you probably have one going on right now, because if you're human, then you have conflict in your life. And then what are the things that you can do to kind of move through the steps once you've decided to start walking through them. So you kind of figure out where you are in your conflict and gives you resources to be able to say, okay, well, what's next? How do I get to the bottom of this? How do I work through and really come to resolution that feels better than where I'm at right now. So I wanted to jump in live to give you an idea of what that looks like. And I thought maybe I would walk through one of my conflicts that is recent for me to show you how I use the tool and where I am even currently at in that conflict. So I'm going to share my screen a little bit here with you to see if I can show you where we're at. I'm actually going to share my entire screen so that you can see a couple different things. So here we go. Whoa, that's always very confusing when you get to see the Hangout there. All right, so first of all, this is where you find it, isogostrong.com/conflict resolve. So that's where you're going to find it. And you just click right there and enter your email address and your first name, and you will come up with this conflict path and action plan. And I'm going to see if we can get this big enough for you to see, but small enough that we can actually see what's going on. So, so this is your path and action plan. And so, like I said, it follows along with episodes 62 through 67 of the Isogo TV podcast, which is now audio or video. So if you love to watch as you go, then you can check it out on iTunes or YouTube. Or if you like to just listen along, maybe you are working on some other things here and there, then you can find it over on iTunes as its own audio podcast. So if you have trouble finding that, let me know and I will help you. I'll point you in that direction. So this is the conflict resolution path and action plan. This is the free PDF you can get that really, my goal, my desire for it is that it can help you assess where you are at in your conflict and where you, and what's the next best step that you can take to help work through your conflict. So in our very first episode, in episode 62, I talked about a conflict that is now near and dear to my heart. And it's something actually that I have continued to think about with a colleague of mine. It all started from some feedback that he gave me. And, you know, I've been thinking about it. And so in that particular one, you know, we start off right here at the beginning. So I guess there's a pre-stage, you know, when you just enter into the conflict, you realize, man, this is something that I'm thinking about more. I can't overlook this. I can't just forget about it. It's something that's been bothering me. And so I need to figure out how to get through this without destroying the relationship, you know, continuing to keep the relationship in mind. And so for me, I started here at the emotion. So, you know, a lot of our conflict has to do with the emotion and the intangibles that we bring into it. And so taking a moment to step back and look at that was a great place for me to start. What kind of emotional templates have I created? And that episode helps you unpack that a little bit. And what does that look like? The activity in there is, what does a great relationship look like versus what is a relationship that you kind of have resistance to? And by looking at those two different things, you see the types of emotional templates that you bring in. And for me, I realized that I was bringing an emotional template of this was a good emotional template. And I think that's probably what made the conflict even harder for me, was that we have a really great working relationship and even a friendship. And I realized that I respect this person a lot. And so the feedback that I received was hard to hear. And so I started there with the emotion. That was what I was bringing into it. The template that I brought was really, really a great one. But it doesn't mean that we didn't still have a conflict. So then I went whoop, and moved on. So moved on to the perception check. So perception check is all about getting past perception frustration, which is the conflict a result of something that I am perceiving that either isn't actually there or is an overuse or misuse of a talent. And really, it still comes from the strengths perspective. So there's a conversation template in there that talks about, having a positive, starting from a positive intent. I love using the concept of balconies and basements, or as makes more sense to me, deck and dungeons. Where do we, our family sits out on the deck and we get our most amazing, brilliant moments out there. And then I have my grandmother, who's now 96 years old. I used to go to her cabin in the woods of Western Michigan, and she had the cellar that she went into. And I just remember thinking that was such a deep, dark dungeon that nothing good could ever come out of there. And so where do I have the perception tech is all about, where do I have this person's strengths, their talents, the good parts of them? Where have I categorized those things, out on the deck or down in the dungeon? And I think part of the revelation for me with my particular conflict is that I had some of these strengths of this person put down into the dungeon. I felt that some of their talents, they're really, really good at seeing what's wrong about something. And I just felt like instead of saying, yeah, I love that you're giving that talent to me, I was saying, you know what, you're being nitpicky, and that's so frustrating and hurtful. That's the part of it. I was actually hurt. And so, and then, I kind of worked through that a little bit. Okay, great. I'm glad that I have thought through that. That really helps me move on to the next step. And the next step is about inspecting our own heart. So that inspection, that introspection piece is so important. And really, from a strengths perspective, this is all about volume control. And I spoke with a colleague today named Richard, who talked about not only a volume control, but really you're the mixer of your own strengths, that you at any given moment have the opportunity to turn up and turn down the different volumes of your different instruments to create the song that you want to sing. And so for me, I think it was about turning my connectedness down a little bit, to say, don't take this so personally. It's not about the relationship. Achiever also got a little bit hurt, I think. And so to say, you know what, I can turn it down in how I receive the feedback, but turn it back up to say, okay, this is how I can make a difference. And then, I think I'm actually at the respect stage. So I haven't gotten to the point where I've actually talked to this person about the conflict. Maybe I stop here. That's something that you can consider as well. Like, you don't have to get through every single one of these. In fact, respect is all about going into the conversation that you need to have with the person that you need to have it with in order for your conflict to be resolved with a position of trust and respect. You do that by going to them privately with a strengths crafted communication. So in that episode, we talk about how do you craft your communication from a strengths perspective, and there's some ideas and examples in there. And then the next one is, if it doesn't work, how do you bring a neutral third party along? And so you might not ever need to get to that point. You might skip right over it and go to the final, which is to care, to close with care, to pay attention to the uniqueness of the person, respond gently with specific positive recognition. And we talk in the episode about what that might look like through their strengths. And we land here no matter what, no matter if we have resolved it or not. And so in some ways, I have actually jumped to this. I haven't decided, is it something that now that I've done the emotion, the perception, the inspection. Is it something that I really need to talk to him about? Or is it something that I can just close with care and say, you know what, I'm going to choose to be your champion anyway. I'm going to assume the best and not take it too personal, not take it personally. And we'll see, because I do keep thinking about it. And so maybe there's something more to it. But we'll see. That's me in the middle of my conflict, showing you how I might use this tool to walk through my own conflict, to make sure that I'm addressing all the most important parts, and to come out in a way that is honoring to the other person, but also can get to the bottom of the conflict and not just leave me thinking about it all the time. So perhaps I really do need to come back to this. We will see. Maybe I'll give you an update at some point. All right, let me stop screen sharing there for you and see if it will give me, yep, hello, there I am again. So that's an example of how you use the conflict resolution path and action plan, how I have used it, and how I would love for you to be able to use it as you are thinking through your conflicts, and working through them from a strengths-based perspective, through the lens that everyone brings talent to the relationship, even when it's a conflict relationship. They're trying to show up with what they do best. And you, as somebody who is working from your strengths, are trying to show up with what you do best. And when you can use those two things together, you can walk along this path to conflict resolution and get to the bottom of that conflict and feel better about it in the end. So if you have any questions about the conflict resolution path and action plan, please don't hesitate to drop me a line and let me know. You can do that by contacting me directly by email at isogo@isogostrong.com. That's ISOGO@ISOGOstrong.com. Or you can comment if this down here in the YouTube comments, or over on Facebook, where I will post this momentarily. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you about the ways that you have worked through your conflicts by using your strengths, by focusing in on what's good about you and the person that you are having that conflict with. So I will check in again sometime soon. And in the meantime, I hope that you continue to use your unique and brilliant strengths to make a life-changing story in your own journey. Catch you later. Bye now.